Today is a dangerous day across the northern plains. An enhanced risk is up from central Kansas through the Dakotas, and roughly 1.2 million people sit inside this threat zone right now. Damaging winds are the headline, but tornadoes are the story I'm watching closest, because the atmosphere has the kind of spin that can put strong tornadoes on the ground with very little warning. In about 90 seconds, I'll tell you the exact city and time window I think takes the hardest hit. My read on this setup is simple. Winds at every level of the atmosphere are stacked and aligned in a way that turns any storm that fires this afternoon into a potential wind damage machine and gives the strongest cells enough rotation to produce tornadoes. Today's Doppler score is 8.5 out of 10. That's an extreme threat day, and tornado is the dominant driver. Here's the jet stream map. A corridor of powerful upper-level winds is aimed directly from southwest Kansas through central Nebraska and into the eastern Dakotas. That's the same corridor where storms will fire. That alignment is what makes today different. Now look at this animation of winds at storm level. A strong pipeline of warm, humid air is surging north out of the Gulf tonight, and it's focused right into that same zone. That moisture is loading the atmosphere with dangerous storm fuel ahead of a cold front pushing southeast. The wind probabilities on today's maps are the most urgent thing I need to walk you through, so let's get into it. Here's the Day 1 wind probability map. A 45% wind risk with hatching for significant winds sits over the eastern Dakotas and western Minnesota. That means winds strong enough to snap trees, peel roofs, and roll mobile homes are highly likely somewhere in this zone today. The 30% contour extends south through central Nebraska and into Kansas. If you're anywhere in this corridor, anything not tied down needs to come inside now. This is the hail probability map. A 30% hail risk with significant hatching is concentrated from North Dakota into northern Nebraska. That hatching means hail 2 inches or larger, big enough to shatter windshields, dent sheet metal, and destroy roofs. If you have vehicles and no garage, find covered parking before storms arrive. The 15% zone extends south through much of Nebraska and into northwest Kansas. Now the tornado map, and this is the one that concerns me most. A 10% tornado probability with significant hatching sits over the South Dakota and Nebraska border region. That means 2 or stronger tornadoes are in play. These won't be brief spin-up. The wind profile today supports longer-track tornadoes that can stay on the ground. The 5% zone with hatching extends south through central Kansas. If you're in this corridor, you need a plan right now for where you go when a warning drops. My call. Sioux Falls takes the worst of this between 5 and 9 p.m. Central. That's where wind, hail, and tornado probabilities overlap at their peak, and where storm initiation timing lines up with maximum instability. That's my bet. Now let me show you exactly which cities are inside these risk polygons, because if your town is on this list, your evening plans need to change. At the highest level, the enhanced risk. Sioux Falls and Aberdeen in South Dakota. Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot in North Dakota. Moorhead, Minnesota. Dodge City, Kansas. These are the cities where all three hazards overlap at their highest probabilities. Surrounding that, in the slight risk. Omaha and Lincoln in Nebraska. Sioux City, Iowa. St. Cloud, Minnesota. Williston, North Dakota. You're not in the bullseye, but organized severe storms are expected in your area, and you should be weather aware all afternoon and evening. The broader marginal risk stretches from the Twin Cities and Des Moines through Chicago, Indianapolis, and into the Nashville metro. Isolated severe storms are possible, but widespread damage is less likely. If this video helped you understand your risk today, hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss one of these briefings. On your screen now is the simulated radar forecast. Storms begin firing along the front in central South Dakota and northern Nebraska between 3 and 4 p.m. Central. By 5 p.m., they organize into a mix of supercells and a Bow-ing line segment, tracking northeast through the Sioux Falls metro and into western Minnesota. Between 6 and 9 p.m. is the peak window for all hazards. The line accelerates east through the evening, pushing into central Minnesota and northern Iowa by 10 p.m. By midnight, the main threat pushes well east of the primary risk zone, and the worst is behind you. I expect the Storm Prediction Center to issue a particularly dangerous situation tornado watch for eastern South Dakota and western Minnesota by early to mid-afternoon. When that watch drops, treat it as your signal to finalize shelter plans, charge your phone, and make sure every person in your household knows where to go. On your screen is the Doppler threat outlook for the next 6 days. Today is an 8.5, but tomorrow is actually scored even higher at 8.9. This threat isn't a one-day event. Tomorrow's enhanced risk shifts east into the upper Midwest. The Day 2 tornado map shows a 10% probability with significant hatching over northeastern Iowa into Wisconsin, meaning the same kind of strong, long-track tornadoes are possible again. The Day 2 wind map pushes 30% wind probabilities with significant hatching into Wisconsin, eastern Iowa, and northern Illinois, a heavily populated corridor. And the hail map puts 30% significant hail risk over the same area. I will have a full breakdown of tomorrow's threat in a dedicated video. If you're in the upper Midwest or the Corn Belt, that video is for you. Day 3 keeps an enhanced risk over the Central Plains, stretching from Missouri to Michigan. I'll cover that in detail as we get closer and the data sharpens. On your screen now is the excessive rainfall outlook. A slight risk for excessive rainfall sits over central South Dakota today, as well as Kentucky and Tennessee, meaning rainfall rates could overwhelm drainage and cause flash flooding, especially in urban areas and low-lying roads. Do not drive through standing water tonight, especially after dark when you can't judge depth. Doppler tracking. Doppler out.